continue to join them throughout the procession as it is ongoing right now. Again, just a testament to our community and the support that they have shown Trooper Landon Weaver and his family. You heard Colleen mention it a little bit ago, but there are contributions you can continue to contribute to Trooper Weaver and his family, and you can do that through Troopers Helping Troopers. We do have all the information for that on our website at wearecentralpa.com. Colleen also mentioned the Haas's restaurant doing a great job. 25% of the proceeds this Saturday will go to help Trooper Weaver's family. And many of these memorials that you see throughout many of our counties, so many of them, whether it's in Martinsburg or Huntington, Blair County, we've seen many shows of support and compassion towards Trooper Weaver's family. Some that, like I said, may have not even known Trooper Weaver. And it's really incredible what this community has done in the wake of such a tragic incident that happened last Friday night. So we are continuing to follow this procession as it heads through Duncansville. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people coming out today for Trooper Weaver's funeral. Started at 11 a.m. this morning over at the Blair County Convention Center. And it wasn't just police from our area either, or just from Pennsylvania. We had officers from all across our country coming out today to support Trooper Weaver and his family. And you saw many community members that are still lining the streets or that went to his funeral over at the convention center. It's not only been something that has hit us hard here in central Pennsylvania, but it has hit us hard in Pennsylvania as a whole as well. We do want to continue our live coverage this morning, this afternoon actually, I should say. We do have reporters throughout the stops along this procession route, and that includes in Newry, where we want to rejoin our Jordan Tracy. He is live there right now. Jordan, good afternoon again.
Good afternoon, Casey. The first car is starting to pass through here at the moment as people are standing by. And now I'm going to step aside as the town of Newry pays their respect for Trooper Landon Weaver.
Okay, this is a live look into Newry right now. Trooper Weaver's procession will be passing through there shortly. We're anticipating that procession to begin here shortly through Newry as they make their way through Duncansville, past Duncansville, eventually into Newry, heading on to East Freedom, and then eventually through Roaring Spring and Martinsburg. And here we go. We see the warning car now coming up through Newry, and the procession will now follow. Let's take a live look in. You are looking at the procession for Trooper Landon Weaver heading through Newry right now. And you heard earlier in the broadcast, Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner Tyree Blocker and the words that he had to say about Trooper Landon Weaver. Of course, Trooper Weaver is only 23 years old, just recently graduated from the Pennsylvania State Police Academy back in June. But State Police Commissioner Tyree Blocker called Trooper Weaver compassionate, professional, had exceptional interpersonal skills, said he had a great sense of humor. And you hear folks and fellow officers that knew Trooper Weaver and that served with Trooper Weaver, whether it were in his State Police Academy class, whether it was his fellow officers here in Pennsylvania and here in central Pennsylvania, who's a beloved member of the police family. His fellow officers saying, actually earlier this week, that he'll be remembered as a compassionate, professional member of the Pennsylvania State Police. And really, that's those are the words. Those are the words that keep coming up when you hear folks talk about Trooper Landon Weaver. Just a good human being, who was taken far too soon, doing the job that he always wanted to do, serving his community, protecting his community. As you see the procession still going through Newry here, and they will head, like I've been telling you all afternoon, from here they're going to be making their way towards Roaring Spring and then to Martinsburg. And actually I want to mention too that the procession and cars are still filtering out of the Blair County Convention Center, where of course Trooper Weaver's funeral was held earlier this morning. Hundreds of cars we are expecting throughout this procession today as the community continues to come out and mourn the passing of Trooper Landon Weaver. Just to get a sense too as how long and how many vehicles are in this procession for Trooper Landon Weaver, let's head back and get a shot into Duncansville right now, where this procession is also still going through. You're looking at Newry here, but take a look at that. Just take a look at that. All of the state police vehicles, Pennsylvania State Police vehicles, some other vehicles in there as well. But that is the procession right now going through Duncansville as they continue to make their way then on to Newry as this procession for Trooper Landon Weaver continues. But so many cars, I mean, the line really never ending there. And like I just said too, cars are still filtering out of the Blair County Convention Center. So if that doesn't give you a sense of how much support there is this afternoon for State Trooper Landon Weaver, I don't know what will, because you know, it is still coming through. That's really amazing. It really is. This procession, of course, will end this afternoon in a short time in Martinsburg, the hometown of Trooper Landon Weaver, where he will later today be buried. And that is also where we find our Lauren Hanley. She's been in Martinsburg for us all day today, continuing to talk to community members there. Let's rejoin her live now. Good afternoon again, Lauren.
Good afternoon, Casey. Everyone that we've spoken with pretty much this past week and over the last weekend had only positive things to say about Trooper Weaver. When I was on the phone yesterday with the superintendent of the school district, Betsy Baker, she was telling me that one thing that she knew about him, although she didn't know him personally, was that one of his goals was to be in law enforcement. It was a dream of his, and he worked hard for that, and that's what he achieved. Now, unfortunately, it was very short-lived. And one thing that I've been thinking about this whole time is that he was 23 years old. I am 23 years old. When I think about, could I make the sacrifice that he made? Could I put my life on the line? And that's something that I don't think I could do, and I don't think a lot of people could do. A lot of the people here today were saying it is the ultimate sacrifice, and they just thank him for his service. And as you can see around me, families are out here. Among those families might even be some of his friends. This is the community that you know, he spent a lot of time and grew up in, went to school in Martinsburg. There are people here with American flags. There are blue ribbons from the light posts, and everyone here is just patiently waiting for the funeral procession to come through so that they can say their final goodbyes and thank yous to Trooper Landon Weaver. And actually, up the street earlier, I saw some firefighters waiting as well. They were in full gear. We've seen some police cars come through here getting ready to head to the cemetery and prepare for when they come through this area. And I understand the procession is incredibly long, so when it comes through here, I imagine everyone will have plenty of time to pay their respects. Casey, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Lauren, if I could real quick, as you mentioned that hit me too, as 23 years old, and as I was watching the casket come out of the Blair County Convention Center a short time ago, and I see his wife there too, Macy, recently married, just back in June. And I'm thinking about that time period for them. June, he had just graduated from the State Police Academy, just married, and so short into his time at the Pennsylvania State Police Academy. You think about that, and when you get married and having a life with that person and how quick it ended for them. They were just starting their life out, and that really struck me today too. It just kind of went off of what you were saying there about being so young and being taken. So yeah, we appreciate that, Lauren. Thank you for those words today. This is continuing. The Trooper Landon Weaver, his procession is continuing through Martinsburg right now. Well, we'll be heading to Martinsburg, I should say, in just a short little bit. But it is heading towards Newry and heading through Newry right now as well. And really, like I said, too, it's still going through Duncansville, and some cars were shortly ago just still leaving the Blair County Convention Center, just to kind of give you really a sense of how long this procession is. And here you are looking right now. I believe this is in Newry, as that procession is continuing for Trooper Weaver through the area. You see the streets are lined right now with community members and mourners. You see some first responders, some firefighters there with their hats down and standing there with their hands behind their back, just paying their final respects. But like we've been saying, you can't really say it enough, how amazing this community that we live in is, and how they've really rallied and come together and come out in a show of support for not only Trooper Weaver, but his family and his fellow officers. It's really incredible to look at. This is video on your left from earlier this morning, or earlier this afternoon, I should say, following the funeral at the Blair County Convention Center. You see that there is Trooper Weaver's casket with the American flag, of course, draped over it and being placed there in the hearse. And then that procession began a short time after that. And like you see on the right, it is continuing at this hour as we continue to remember Trooper Landon Weaver, who was tragically killed last Friday while doing his job, protecting the community in Huntington, responding to a domestic dispute at a home in Heston. As we continue to look in on this procession and the earlier events of Trooper Weaver's casket being brought out from the Blair County Convention Center. Let's take another look in. And we do want to mention that just a short time ago, the last vehicles are leaving the Blair County Convention Center, so that procession is fully underway now. The Blair County Convention Center, if you're just joining us, was the site of Trooper Landon Weaver's funeral earlier this morning at 11 a.m. And now the procession is underway through Blair County, eventually ending later today in Martinsburg at the Fairview Cemetery, where Trooper Weaver will be buried. As we continue to look live there into Newry, the procession for Trooper Landon Weaver, we want to take you back out to Martinsburg, live, where that procession will continue and eventually end today. Martinsburg, as we've been telling you, is the hometown of Trooper Landon Weaver. And let's rejoin our Lauren Hanley. She's live in Martinsburg again for us this afternoon. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Casey. Well, we were kind of just starting to count some of the people out here. We estimated maybe 100, 150 people have shown up. In the last hour, it seems like more and more people just keep coming out of their houses, sitting on their porches, awaiting for this funeral procession to come through. One of the things that struck me about all of this and the people that I've talked to is that they keep repeating that he has made the ultimate sacrifice. And one person who I did a live interview with, actually, Marshall Swope, he was saying he can't even imagine how Trooper Weaver's wife feels at this time. I mean, they just got married this summer, and he, from what I understand, just really started his career in law enforcement, which was his dream. And Mr. Swope was saying that, you know, he lost his wife a couple of years ago, and what struck him was that he never got to say goodbye. And one thing that happens a lot in this job from other officers that I've spoken with is that, you know, you leave your house to go do a job that you signed up to do, that you love, but it's not necessarily the safest job. And when you walk out of your house that morning or that evening, that overnight shift, you don't know what you're walking into, and you might not be coming home. So that's just one thing that a lot of the people here have been talking about, and understand that it is a hard, unforgiving job, and that Trooper Weaver really did make the ultimate sacrifice. Casey?
Yeah, Lauren, that, again, true words. That really struck me today, too. I couldn't believe that. Really hits you when you look and you just see how young both of them were, Trooper Weaver and his wife, Macy, just starting their life together, like we were just saying. And it's really, really awful to think about, really sad to think about on so many levels. We're back in Newry again, continuing to follow Trooper Weaver's procession. We are told just a short time ago, I had mentioned that all the vehicles have since departed from the Blair County Convention Center, the site of Trooper Weaver's funeral earlier this morning. So this procession is going through Duncansville right now. It is also, as you see, going through Newry right now. They are making their way towards East Freedom on Old Route 220 south. And then they're going to be heading on Route 164 on the Woodbury Pike towards Roaring Spring. We're told right now that those last cars have actually departed Duncansville. So you're looking at some of those cars now moving towards Newry. And this procession will, of course, then continue into Martinsburg later this afternoon, where Trooper Weaver will then be buried. You're seeing the community, though. You really are. You're seeing them come out, and you're seeing that the community there in Newry, the firefighters there lining the streets. You heard Lauren say in Martinsburg, folks just really coming out of their house, sitting on their porch, just observing the procession coming through, the procession soon to be coming through Martinsburg. So we do want to get you back to Duncansville, though. I understand the procession has since passed through there. It is continuing through there. Okay, I'm being told it is still continuing through Duncansville. So let's rejoin my colleague, Colleen Nelson. She's been live in Duncansville all afternoon for us, and you see that procession going on behind her right now. Hi, Colleen.
Good afternoon, Casey. The procession continues here today through Duncansville. We've been out here all afternoon. This procession, at least 20 minutes long, just a true testament to all of the support, all of the first responders coming out to support their brother, Trooper Landon Weaver. We've seen cars coming from as far away as Kentucky. We've seen them from New York, even one from Indiana. We also want to mention there was a car from Indiana University, IUP, where Trooper Weaver went to school. Again, just dozens, maybe even hundreds of first responders out here in this procession as they make their way to Martinsburg, where Trooper Landon Weaver will be laid to rest. Again, the procession is continuing this afternoon. We've been out here for at least 20 minutes. This procession is ongoing, and we expect it to be ongoing for at least a few more minutes as they continue to pay their respects to Trooper Landon Weaver.
Yeah, at least, probably longer, Colleen. That's Colleen Nelson for us in Duncansville this afternoon as the procession for Trooper Landon Weaver does continue. Another live look for you here into Newry, where that procession is heading to. And yeah, you heard Colleen say it. Boy, it looks like it's almost never ending when you really get a sense of it. That shot that Colleen was in, I think really gave you a true sense. The police cars and vehicles in general, you can see them, they look endless for miles. So this route, about 15 miles, this procession route is, I should mention too, from the Blair County Convention Center to the eventual destination of the Fairview Cemetery in Martinsburg, where he'll be buried later today. But boy, just gives you a really good sense of how many people are coming out today. Police officers, fellow police officers that knew Trooper Weaver, that served with Trooper Weaver, maybe graduated in the same police academy class as Trooper Weaver, but many officers that did not even know Landon Weaver. We had mentioned there are police officers from all across the country, as far away as Kentucky, that are here today, visiting our area, paying their final respects to Trooper Landon Weaver. It's really incredible. It really is. So we'll continue to follow this procession. It is making its way towards Roaring Spring and Martinsburg. We do have live reporters throughout the area at all of these destinations, or I should say all of these stops. The eventual destination, of course, being Martinsburg later today. But let's just continue to look in here in Newry as the procession, funeral procession for 23-year-old fallen state trooper Landon Weaver continues. So the funeral procession for Trooper Landon Weaver continues through Newry. You're looking live into Newry right now at that procession. Its eventual destination is Martinsburg, Trooper Landon Weaver's hometown. And we want to go back out live to Lauren Hanley. She's been in Martinsburg throughout the day today for us, and we'll join her again right now. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Casey. Well, we are starting to brave the cold out here. It's getting pretty chilly, but even though it's cold, more and more people seem to be coming out. And actually, off in the background, I don't know if you can see this, there's a fire truck and I believe some fire police. They're starting to light up at the intersection in the opposite direction. They have actually shut that down. There are firefighters up there, and now a helicopter is flying overhead. There are people out in uniform. Everybody is gathered here. They're just ready to pay their respects and say goodbye to Trooper Weaver. And it's been really moving out here, listening to some of the stories and people that knew him. And I actually just spoke with a woman who said her son graduated with him, and she can't believe any of this happened. And that's pretty much the sentiment that I've been hearing all week from a lot of people. Casey?
Yeah, Lauren, I'm imagining that you've talked to some folks that knew Trooper Weaver, some folks that have not, some of your early interviews, some folks that have not. You even said some folks that are just coming out on their porch to pay their respects. That's really a testament, isn't it, to how much the community remembers Trooper Weaver, but how much we also realize how he paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, I really think it is. Honestly, we've seen people, come out in Blair County. We've seen people from our surrounding counties come out. But actually, yesterday when I was up at the convention center over by the Holiday Inn Express, when the viewing was going on, I saw a huge group of Logan Township police officers walk in, Hollidaysburg, Huntingdon, and then I started seeing NYPD, Kentucky State Police troopers. People are coming across the country to say goodbye. And actually, I've taken some phone calls. Some people called in. One is a trooper in Washington State. He said he grew up in Martinsburg and he knew of the family, and he just wanted to, keep tabs on everything that was going on and find a way that he could reach out to the family and express his condolences as well.
That's just it. Lauren Hanley for us today in Martinsburg. That is it. I mean, it's not just local police or Pennsylvania State Police. I mean, Lauren mentioned NYPD, police officers from as far away as Kentucky. That's just mentioning a couple. The police, firefighters, first responders, they're a family. There's no question about it. When one of theirs sadly passes, they all come together as a family. And whether it is far away as it is, it doesn't really matter, as you're seeing today, as many coming from far, far away to pay their final respects to Trooper Landon Weaver. I believe we are back in Newry right now as the Trooper Weaver funeral procession continues through Newry. And if you're just joining us, I've been recapping all afternoon long. Just to recap you, though, on the procession route, it has already, as it since left the Blair County Convention Center, where the funeral was held earlier this morning for Trooper Landon Weaver. It made its way then to Duncansville, where it's continuing to pass through. And now you're looking at a live shot into Newry, where the procession is continuing. They'll then be making their way towards East Freedom on 220 South. And then they will be making their way, eventually getting onto the Woodbury Pike on 164 through Roaring Springboro. And then they will be heading through Martinsburg, and I'm being told now that they have reached Martinsburg right now. I believe we are going to go there and take a look at the procession heading towards Trooper Weaver's hometown of Martinsburg, where he will be laid to rest later today at Fairview Cemetery, I believe. And here is the warning car right now coming through Martinsburg, down the main road there. Look at the community, though. Take a look at that, folks. Both sides of the street. Members of the community. You do see, like Lauren was saying a short time ago in the distance there, some fire police, local fire departments, local first responders there in Martinsburg. And you can kind of see it right there. There is the beginning of Trooper Landon Weaver's funeral procession, set here in just moments to head through his hometown. Let's take a live look in.
Sounds good. Do I have to wrap anything or just Casey?
And there you see the hearse of Trooper Landon Weaver passing through his hometown of Martinsburg as the community there, fellow classmates, friends, family members that knew Trooper Weaver, saying their final goodbyes. A procession that started at the Blair County Convention Center earlier this morning for Trooper Landon Weaver's funeral. A sad and somber day, no question about it, as we remember Trooper Landon Weaver, the 23-year-old, tragically killed last Friday in the line of duty. And we do want to send, here at WTAJ, extend our deepest sympathies and condolences to Trooper Weaver's family and his friends and anybody that knew him, as the 23-year-old passing away on Friday while serving his community in the line of duty. That's going to do it for our coverage today on WTAJ News at noon. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later tonight.
Trooper Weaver was a young member of the Pennsylvania State Police, but one that had exhibited all of the qualities, the professional qualities that we look for in a member of the Pennsylvania State Police. He was compassionate, he was professional, he had a good sense of humor, and possessed exceptional interpersonal skills.
It's also a time for all of us as Pennsylvanians to reaffirm our gratitude for what these folks do for us day in and day out. It's a time for us to reaffirm our gratitude for what Trooper Weaver was doing the other night, trying to make a life safer, more secure, and that's what these folks do day in, day out. They're heroes.